Okay, let's just get right into this. If you had to name the biggest threats to your focus right now, today, what comes to mind? It's probably your smartphone, right? Endless notifications, the pressure to constantly be hustling, or feeling like you always need to share your opinion online. Well, what if I told you that over 1,000 years ago, an ancient text mapped out these exact same distractions? In this explainer, we are looking at a remarkable text that honestly reads like a modern intervention for our completely distracted, hustle-obsessed minds. We're going to be decoding a fascinating text from the C-Beta Chinese electronic Tripitaka collection. It's called the Sutra of Discovering the Pure Heart. And what we're going to do today is translate these centuries-old Buddhist teachings into a sort of spiritual diagnosis for the modern day. Because this text lays out exactly how the mind gets clouded, and, much more importantly, how we can actually clear it up. To make sense of this dense philosophical guide, we'll follow a quick diagnostic roadmap, starting with the Deer Park intervention, then looking at confessions and karma, the traps of distraction, 4 rules for the future, the pure dharma, and finally, mindsets for the pure land. Section 1. The Deer Park intervention, identifying the symptoms. So our story begins in the ancient Deer Park in Varanasi. The Buddha is gathered there with this massive assembly, 1,000 monks and 500 bodhisattvas. But things are not going well. The bodhisattva Maitreya looks around and notices a really serious problem in the ranks. He realizes that many of these practitioners are totally losing their way. They're getting distracted by worldly chatter, they're oversleeping, they're caught up in busy work and pointless little debates. Basically, their spiritual focus is just eroding. Sound familiar to anyone? Section 2. Confessions and Karma, the root cause. Led by Maitreya, 60 of these struggling, literally weeping bodhisattvas approach the Buddha. They are completely stuck spiritually, and they beg him for a diagnosis. Like, why can't they focus? Why are they so drawn to all these superficial distractions? Well, the Buddha gives them some pretty hard truth. He explains their karmic baggage. He reveals that their current inability to focus actually stems from a very dark past. In a previous life, they weaponized gossip and jealousy. To gain fame and donations for themselves, they defamed 2 prominent Dharma masters, which ended up destroying the faith of countless followers. So their scattered minds right now, that's a direct result of that toxic behavior. And this brilliantly illustrates just how severe their actions were. The text doesn't just say, hey, they were punished. It maps out this absolutely staggering timeline of karmic retribution. Just look at these time frames. We're talking 6.2 million years in the Avisi hell, tens of thousands of years in other hell realms. And get this, even when they finally returned to human form, they spent 500 lifetimes born completely blind. The text uses this massive scale to really drive home how spiritually destructive it is to tear others down just for your own clout. It literally blinds you to the truth for lifetimes. Section 3. The traps of distraction, diagnosing the illness. To prevent us from making those same catastrophic mistakes, the Buddha breaks down the specific worldly traps that poison a pure heart. And interestingly enough, he starts with something incredibly mundane: sleep. The text lists 20 specific faults of excessive sleep. It warns that oversleeping leads directly to physical lethargy, mental dullness, and a dangerous erosion of your willpower. It's not just about needing a nap, it's about totally checking out of reality. It clouds your memory and literally causes your wisdom to wither away. Next up, the sutra tackles what we would today call toxic discourse and hustle culture. The text perfectly diagnoses the impacts of worldly chatter, so think doom scrolling, gossiping, endless online debating, and worldly business, which is basically the relentless pursuit of wealth and status. And the impact on the mind? Arrogance, loss of focus, constant worry, and endless greed. By constantly hustling and constantly talking, you exhaust your body and completely obscure the pure path. I mean, this ancient text literally saw our modern burnout coming from a mile away. Section 4. 4 rules for the future, prescribing the medicine. Now, the Buddha doesn't just leave them with the bad news. He actually offers a very specific prescription for practitioners living in what he calls the Dharma ending age, which is a future era defined by corruption, noise, and spiritual decay. Which raises a crucial question for you, the viewer. How can you maintain a pure heart when the whole world seems completely determined to distract and agitate you? Well, here is the medicine. The Buddha provides 4 non-negotiable rules for survival. And notice how every single one of these rules focuses entirely on controlling yourself, not policing others. Number 1, do not seek out the faults of others. Number 2, do not expose their flaws. Number 3, be generous. And number 4, abandon harsh, toxic speech. In a world that constantly encourages us to critique and call out of everyone else, this ancient text says the ultimate survival strategy is to actually shut down your own toxic output and tend to your own mind. Section 5, the pure Dharma, separating medicine from poison. Now you might be thinking, okay, I'll just teach others how to be good. But the Sutra warns that even sharing spiritual teachings can become a trap if your underlying motivations are corrupt. Let's contrast the right and wrong ways to share wisdom. Pure Dharma is given freely, strictly out of compassion, without seeking absolutely any reward. It yields true wisdom. Corrupt Dharma, on the other hand, is just another hustle. It's preaching just to gain followers, wealth, or to elevate your own ego. It might look holy on the outside, but it is purely transactional on the inside. And if you think the text is going to be gentle about this, think again. The Buddha pulls 0 punches here. He uses shocking, incredibly visceral imagery to describe people who use spiritual teachings as a grift to gain wealth and followers. He compares corrupt motives to a rotting dead snake or a dead dog, something inherently impure that wise people should immediately detect and avoid. It is a stark reminder that your intention is literally everything. Section 6, Mindsets for the Pure Land, the ultimate prognosis. So what's the actual endgame here for those who successfully navigate these traps and manage to purify their hearts? This explainer concludes with these 10 essential mindsets. Think of this as a holistic checklist required to transcend worldly suffering and, according to the text, achieve rebirth in Abhitava's pure land. It requires boundless compassion without anger, deep, unshakable patience, rejecting fame and profit, and totally avoiding worldly chatter. It's basically a complete reversal of the traps we looked at earlier. It requires a profound detachment from the noise of the world and a relentless focus on inner purity. The Sutra of Discovering the Pure Heart may be ancient, but its diagnosis of the human condition is completely timeless. It really holds up a mirror to our daily habits. Ultimately, it leaves us with a profound diagnostic challenge for our modern lives. I want you to really think about this as we wrap up. In a world completely built on distraction, gossip, and endless hustle, what mental noise are you willing to silence today to find your true focus?